All right, welcome. We are at another episode of what we started calling last time the Kurt Gibson Show, for lack of a better name, but maybe Nas here can maybe figure out a better name moving forward for it because that's kind of boring. But today we have a very, very special guest, and I'm super thrilled to have him on the show. We have Nas here with us, and he's going to have to pronounce his full name because I'm not even really sure how to quite pronounce it. But Nas is joining us from Europe. And so you're not only one of the first people that I get to talk to, but you're also on a different continent. So I think that's going to be quite exciting. But welcome, Nas. How's it going? Where are you? Tell us where you are. What time is it? What time zone are you in? Because right here in California, it's 11:50 a.m. So tell us where are you joining us from?
So I'm living in the French side, close to Switzerland, like close to Geneva. I'm living like 10 minutes from the border, and right now it's at 10:50 p.m. and yeah, so probably like it's super dark here. Like, winter, like dark is coming pretty soon here.
Dark is coming. Winter is not only coming, it
We're
is already there, to use the Game of Thrones
yeah,
reference.
yeah, definitely.
So okay, you're is that's on the east side of France in the mountains? Is that in the mountains?
Yeah, I know you can catch the map, but I'm living close to Grenoble, like the Alps, like pretty close to the Alps, like Annecy, like big city around is like Annecy and Grenoble, but I'm very close to Geneva. So more, I would say like I'm very close to Switzerland.
Okay. Okay. I was in Geneva on the Amazing Race, and we went to a chocolate store there because they're famous for their chocolates. We also
Yeah,
went to the UN building there.
yeah,
That was a pretty cool. It was a beautiful city. We ran through the whole city, and we got to go out on this like dock thing that like stretched out. I
yeah,
forget what it's called, but it's like right on. There's a beautiful lake right there, right? I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
remember the
yeah,
name of
yeah,
it, but beautiful, beautiful city. So awesome. Well, I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. So it's late over there, but knowing you, you're kind of everywhere. You have a lot of energy. You're involved in a
yeah,
lot of things. So I'm sure you
yeah,
won't. If I keep talking, I'm sure you'll keep talking as well. So
yeah, yeah,
glad to
well,
have
yeah,
you.
for sure. Me too, yeah, me too. Thank you for the
So
invitation. Yeah,
good, good. So tell I want so the folks listening may know who you are, but then there are probably some folks who don't know who you are and are wondering like who's the European guy, like, and she lives in France, is close to Geneva. So maybe part of the reason I wanted to have you on is that, and what really interests me is just your experience as a European player. You've played for a long time. You have a lot of experience, and you're recently a beach world champion from last year here in Huntington Beach, not too far down the road from where I am, where France won. And so there's a lot of things that I want to talk about, but maybe just do a short intro of kind of your background in Ultimate and just some of the highlights so people get to know a little bit about you.
yeah. So I starting to play Ultimate when I was like 14, so it was like probably around like 1995. I was like starting high school with some friends, and I played with my hometown team, was from like north of Paris. I was living in Paris back in the day, and yeah, I spent like 10 years playing with them. Then I was like looking to have like other experience outside the French competition. So I played 3 years with Clapham in London. And after
Mm.
that, I played 2 seasons with the Swedish team, France. Was like a big rival between Clapham and France, who were like the best European team back in the day. So, well, Clapham is still one of the best teams for sure. So it was like these two teams like I was looking forward to play. And I feel like getting more experience of winning in getting like better and understanding ultimate, I decided to play with Ironside. So I was playing with them during like the World Championship in Prague, 2010, I think. So I played the whole season and moved to Boston. I stayed there for like 4 months, practicing with the team and playing all the tournaments. And after that, when I experiment like playing in US and the high level of 3D, I was looking to do that more. So I played 2 seasons against Gold, Toronto. Yeah, I remember playing against you guys when we were playing with Double Y in the quarters. Yeah, we lost against Double Y a couple of times in the quarter.
Oh
And
yeah, we had some fun games. So okay, I'm trying to give us the years that you did that. So what years were you with Clapham and Boston? Just so
so,
we know.
so Clapham first year was like 2005, and Ironside was 2010, and Gold was 2011 and 2012.
Okay. Yeah, I remember we definitely had some fun games against Goat kind of in those early 2010s.
Yeah,
Like they were always seemed to be very windy games
yeah,
in
yeah,
like the quarters or pool
yeah,
play, whatever it was, in Sarasota, because at that time it was taking place in Sarasota.
yeah, yeah. So after that, I played with Oni 2017, and I played most of the rest of my career in US in ADL. I played with Montreal Royal 2 seasons, and I played 1 season with Empire. And when I decide, like Montreal was like 2016 to 2018, and Cody was like 2017. And yeah,
Wow, you've I thought I played with a lot of teams. You've played with a lot more teams than I
yes,
have. And
definitely, yeah, yeah,
and were you living in Europe the whole time?
yeah. So for Ironside, I spent like 4 months US playing with the team and practice with the team. With Gold, I was with traveling back to back. So I spent like probably a month in Toronto during the summer, and I just flew back for the regionals and the nationals. And when I was playing with Montreal and Tony, I was living in Montreal, so it was like pretty easy for me to go to New York from Montreal.
Okay. Okay. Wow. And I, I want to like understand this more because first of all, it's I would say American teams in general uh, usually only take I would say very good players from Europe. You've played with a bunch of teams, but how how did you go about deciding to play in the U.S. and like what was that process like? I mean, just kind of playing with your first American team and obviously playing Canada too, but I guess I just mean North American. But how does that go? How do you decide to join a U.S. or American team?
Yeah. So when I was younger, like we had a teammate from San Francisco, Mike King, who moved to Paris and stayed with us. We start like noting like new strategy about like ultimate frisbee because like back in the day we were just like playing like ultimate without knowing anything. And when we meet Mike, he picked up like a lot of new stuff, and he had like this the old, I don't know how you say in English, but the whole like DVD or VHS maybe. And we were like I was visiting him in Paris, and we were like talking about frisbee, and he showed me a video about like UPA back in the day with like a lot of good teams like Dog, Jam, or like the old team, right? And I was like watching this video like for so many times. I was like, I want to go there. I want to play there. I think it's my goal right now. I want to make sure I one day I'm gonna be there and playing with this team. And I was lucky because we in Paris we had a lot of American guys. We are just moved there like for study and other stuff. And one of my friends, Adam Sigelman, was a player from Dogs, and we were like we became friends, and we were like talking there and saying, "Ah, you should come to Boston, like play with us." But I was like a student, so it was like pretty hard for me like to just like leave school and just go New York and play. So one day I just reached out to him. I was like, "Hey, Adam, I think I'm ready to play in here. I already played here a couple of times with Clapham, so I want to make the jump." And invite me, talk with the coach, invite me for the tryout. But I think like it was like 2009, and I had like ACL injury during the tournament. So it was like a couple of weeks before I left to Boston, so I didn't go there with the injury. And I have like some issue with my brain also. I had like a brain tumor, and it was like pretty hard like for me to do something like to play any sport. So I decided to take care of my body to make sure like my knee is coming back and I can have surgery in my brain to remove the tumor also. So it took me like a year after coming back in 2010. I had a chance to get invited to play with Ironside and play with them for like I didn't do the tryout. It was like cheerleading season for me to go there. But they invited me to play in track for the World Championship Club 2010. It was like kind of my tryout for them, and I had a pretty good tournament. And after that, they say, yeah, you can come play with us. So after Prague, I moved in US and play with Ironside. So it was like my first connection. Adam was what my first connection to play with New York team.
Wow. Wow. Okay, well there's definitely some things I want to dig into more. You know, you mentioned
Yeah,
the brain tumor and all that, so we'll get to that. But I guess maybe just starting from the beginning, what
yeah,
you said 1995 was when you
yeah,
first started playing Ultimate. That is nearly 30 years ago. So you're quite some time. And as of last year, you are still, or recently became a world champion beach player, which is
yeah.
pretty cool. And so now I believe in your 40s and you're still playing at a high level, which is pretty amazing. But how did like how did you get into Ultimate, and then what about Ultimate did you love that you kind of fell in love with?
I used to play soccer, so I was like my dream like when I was younger like was to be like a pro soccer player. So I was a goalkeeper. I had like I was pretty good on the goalkeeper and playing soccer for a long time. But I was a little bit tired because like we were living like in a neighborhood like when we had like a lot of issues like
I think you're one of the
but
few Europeans to call it soccer, by the way, instead of football.
yeah. I wish yeah. I try to make sure everyone understand like what sport I was playing. So yeah. Soccer was like my dream, and we it was tough sometimes because like every time we had the game, somebody like won the fight with someone, so I was really tired about that. And my older brother, Fess, I think you know him, played a year before
We
me,
played together
and yeah, you played together, yeah,
on double wide. Yep.
yeah, yeah. So he played a year before me, already 2 years before me, and he asked me like, why you don't want to start play frisbee? And I say, yeah, why not? So I decided like to try to go to the practice, and I was like, it was easy for me to make layout because as a goalkeeper, we have to make a lot of layout to make sure you can catch the ball. So, uh, always like really love like make layout stuff and running for catching the frisbee. So I think I just find my sport like and with no referee it was like pretty tough at the beginning. I would say like playing the sport like with no referee was like uh very not usual when you play soccer. You have like different referee on the field. But I was just like enjoying spending time with my friends. We were doing the same sport together. We like hang out together like in the same area. So it was pretty easy for me like to stop playing soccer and just start playing the ultimate.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, there's so many different reasons why people fall in love with it, but your story sounds similar to my brother's in that I started playing Ultimate and then my brother kind of followed suit 2 years behind and he was like, "Oh, what's my older brother doing?" And then just kind of fell in love with it also, and
Yeah,
I think that happens to a lot of people. They just start playing and there's just something about throwing a frisbee and just the beauty of how it throws in the air and just it's so fun.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. So, okay, so you found Frisbee 1995. That's still crazy to me how long ago that was in terms of, I'm sure you look
Yeah,
back and are like, does that seem like a long time to you? Like wow, I've been playing this game at a high level for a long time.
yeah. It's a long time. Like sometimes I'm just like I try to remember like my first tournaments or my first pro, but I just like can't remember. Like I just like forget everything.
Now, one of the reasons why I do this is for younger players to listen to all types of players and learn and be able to take things away. And so, what would you say was, so tell us a little bit about when you started. Were you naturally good right away? Were you played another sport, you're a goalkeeper, so you talked about being able to lay out pretty well already, which is something that people need to learn playing Ultimate for sure. But like, were you naturally good? Could you throw right away? I mean, I remember watching you at Beach Worlds, but you threw pretty well there. But was it natural? Did you have to work hard? Like, what was the time that it took you to kind of grow into your um, kind of skills?
So we were like a group of guys, same high school, hang out together all the time. So we starting to throw through like I starting to throw pretty early in when I was like right away when I stopped playing soccer, I was like throwing frisbee during the break time during high school. So we were like throwing every time I had a chance to throw, was just like throwing. I remember like watching this guy, um, Mario, play with dog. It was lefty, and I was like trying to understand like how he is able like to throw some flick and how he was able to pivot and break the mark, all this stuff. And I was just like watching some like old big names from like Condor or like Dog, all these players like Steve Regan was like one of my idol when I was younger. I had a chance to play with him once also, so watching him like throwing the frisbee, I was just try to copycat. Like I was like watching the video, pose, try to understand how he move, how he take the disc, and just like try to stroke, but just like learning my skills. And I'm still doing that. I'm still watching a lot of players right now to just like try to understand like how they sort of 3D, how they can like break them up, all this stuff. Like I just like love to learn every time, and it was really easy for me like to understand how we go 3D.
So, being a European player, you're talking of a lot of American players like Steve Mooney, Dugan, guys that played a while ago. At least before my time, I didn't start playing till I guess club in 2003 or four. But um, what? So is video, and maybe this is like a question as just a general understanding for people that either live in Europe. Like, what is
Yeah.
that like when obviously a lot of talent is in North America, like the U.S., Canada. Um, what is it like? learning in a place where, you know, you talked about Adam Sigelman, who was a teammate of mine, former teammate of mine
Mm.
in on Boston, great guy. What is it like? How do you learn when you don't necessarily live in a place where there's a lot of good ultimate? Like, surely there's probably players and whatnot, but how do you like? Is it video? Do you kind of go on YouTube? Is that how you did it,
No,
or?
no, I said YouTube was not there. Like YouTube was not there. You know, it was like just like a video like my friend might bring when he moved in Paris, and I was like just watching the video. Mike was also a very good mentor for me. So he had like he played in US, he played Ireland in US. So it was like I was like very close, even like I was not living there. I was like very close to people who had a chance to play in US. So it was like I was just surrounded by a lot of like very good players from the States living in Paris. So it's helped me a lot to develop my skill and my understand for the game too.
Hmm, interesting. So he would bring
Yeah,
like hard copy videos
yeah,
with him to Paris or wherever you were, and you'd watch them, like put it in your
yeah,
old school VHS CD
yeah,
type thing.
yeah. It was like a big change like that. Definitely like I remember like watching the like probably every day, just like try to watch some action and like 3D and watching some games. Yeah,
It's amazing the power of video. I mean, even
yeah,
before
yeah,
YouTube was big, it still had such an impact, and you're a testament to that. Wow,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
incredible. How has technology changed that? So you talk about you love to learn, you still love to kind of watch people how they break the mark and all that. How has the technology changed? I mean, is it just YouTube? How do you kind of go about that now?
I'm just like there's a lot of like players who are making video. You had make some video like how to hit some throw, how to learn some throw. Like Roman McDonald are doing the same thing too. So there's a, right now there's a lot of like stuff you can find in YouTube, where you can learn a lot of situation how you throw, like win with the wind and all the stuff. So it's pretty easy right now, like to find like if you want to learn something, you'll have a lot of video and a lot of people like saying stuff to make you better, you become a better player. But for sure, like back in the day, we didn't have like a lot of like instruction to learn Frisbee. So it was like mostly like watching people going to a tournament and try to understand how they move, kind of how they get open, all the stuff. So I was just like trying to watch and reproduce during the practice in my brain.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of player were you? I mean, I don't know if people listening to this may have seen you play, or maybe some people probably have, but were you a handler? Were you a defender? Were you a receiver? Were you all of the above? What were some of your strengths on the field?
No, I was mostly like a receiver. Yeah, I was a good thrower, but like uh, I became like better because my wife playing too, so she was definitely a better thrower than me. So me a lot of stuff like how you can break the mark in the inside because like my inside was pretty bad at this time. So I was just like a receiver, was able like to run a lot. So it was my strength, like running and catching the CD, good timing in the air. So when I start like getting close to the 40, I became more like handler.
Yeah. It's funny. I saw, and we'll get to this, but I saw one of, I think it was Elliot Bonet's.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was him or somewhere I saw, but it was of him, and it was like him catching goals. But you were maybe equally or more of the highlight because you were the one throwing it to him every time at Beach Nationals. Is you just basically throwing flicks, like huck flicks for like 5 times in a row. So I was a witness to that. I did see that too.
Yeah.
Um, so one of the things I want talk about is just what is it like to come from, like, what was your European experience in Ultimate, and then what was the American experience or playing in North America, and like what are some of the differences? I mean, I think you've got a unique insight to
Yeah.
playing really across the world. I mean, for those who are listening to this, Nas is one of these people that you go to a world tournament and he knows everybody. So he's played in a lot of places. He's like always smiling, great attitude, and knows everybody. And it's super cool to watch and you play and just, you as a person. So I think you've got unique insight of playing in Europe, playing in the US. What's the difference? What do you like about both? Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So I when I play with my own team, Ultimate Vibration, we're like a bunch of guys like who just would love to win, like love to practice, love to play together, like so the fight on the game, like fighting for your teammate was like pretty easy for me to understand. And I was wondering like to make sure like if I want to go in US, I need to experience some like high level of frisbee. But like every time I had a chance, so I decided to play with Clapham, and we had a captain coach, Rob Alton, who used to play with New York, and it was definitely like my best leader coach I've ever had for sure. And he had like the US experience bringing Clapham with a lot of athletes back in the day too, and playing with them like just like teach me how you like fight on the field, how you understand like when you cut, and to make sure like I am ready to move in US and I don't have like to find some time like adapt my style to make sure I can play with different team in US. So I was I had a chance to play with Clapham in US two tournaments. Uh, it was like Portland Live and the one in DC or maybe yeah, it was like 50, I think, in DC. And playing against the US team was like always like dream and it was super like different than Europe. The picture like the physicality was like very different also like more contact, a lot of pressure like when you're the deep. So I was
More
just like
contact in North America.
yeah, I would say
Okay.
yeah, like I would say like more touching, like very touching, like because like like usually we don't like when people like touch you to get open, but it was like something like was like pretty okay to do that in the US. So I remember like playing against Ring of Fire my first time with Ironside and somebody like attacked the frisbee and somebody like lay out on me like pretty bad and pretty late and you just say like, hey, one from the US, man. And I was just like, oh, this is how easy is it? And I was like surprised, but I was like, okay, to think this is the game here. Like, I'm fine with that. So I was not very like surprised when I moved in US because I had already like a chance to play with Flap in here. But definitely like when I play with Ironside, the practice and the intensity during the practice was very different. Like it was like super intense. I was just like tired every time came back home because I was just like exhausted about like 3 hour of practice. It was like super intense and I was looking for that. I was looking for something different and for sure like I would say still right now the way that we practice in US and the way we practice in Europe is very different. Like
Mm.
the intensity, like the time we spend like to understand like what we have to do to get open, what we have to do like stop someone, like the strategy are very different for sure.
Why do you think that is? I mean, I think that's interesting just about, the time and effort that, you talk about some of the North American teams putting in, but you said it's not like that as much in Europe. Why do you think that is?
I feel like when I was like younger, I could play with anything, you know, like I had the skills, I had like the experience. So, but when you like play with the top team, like the top 4 or top 8 team in US, like when you made a tryout and you made the team, it's not over. Like you have to work hard to make sure like you can play every point, like when the coach or somebody called you on the line. So it was like something I had in mind, like to make sure like, yeah, I play with Ironside. It's definitely one of the best team in Europe, but I just don't want like to wear the jersey. I want like to be on the field and do something for the team. So I think like it's a very different like because like it's super hard like to make like a team in Europe like to be on the line every time. So I think to keep me like make sure like I have to train on my side to make sure I'm ready to play every point. And I think in Europe it's very different because we most of the team have like a lot of players, but a different like skill level. So usually use the same players all the time. And yes, you can like have like a lot of like roster like more like deep with different like players, and you can like use a lot of players like you play like a weekend or like a national. So it's very different at this point. I would.
So do you think it's more the culture, or do you think it's as or like a result of the overall talent? Because you mentioned in the U.S., okay, you can make the team, but it's not over because you've got to be able to contribute. You may not get a lot of points if you're not in good shape, or you're one of the top people on the roster, or you're not if you're because you're at the bottom, you might not get a lot of playing time. So is it as a result of the competition? Is it culture? Like what do you attribute that to mostly?
I feel like in US you're like just like more like the competition is like very high, like it's very intense. There's like some teams like just like the Golden National, they just play there, but they never like a very good result. But there is some of the team like they like very focusing to win national, so it's like super intense to play in US. And I feel like I'm 45 and I'm pretty sure like I will not be able to play with any top five team in US right now because like it's a very different like better athletic players. But I can do that in Europe for sure. I can play with different like good teams because I feel like I can do that. But you have like, such a lot of talent in Europe, in US. Like when you see like the USA team won the championship in Australia, was like just like a bunch of like great players on the field. And when you see the result like describe everyone, like I feel like they didn't have like any competition out there. Not because like they are the best, but also like they have like two like two feel like I feel Frisbee is very different. The way how they prep out the game against whatever they're gonna play is very different. Also, I think so. It's more like easy for them, like if they are ready to win, they're gonna do everything to make sure they're gonna win the tournament.
Mm. Do you think that the U.S. do you think that mentality of how they prepare, how they U.S. teams, North American teams kind of prepare, train. Do you think that mentality is moving to Europe? Is it growing? Is the gap widening? Is the U.S. North America pulling away? Is Europe catching up? Or, right? Are they making progress? Is the gap closing? Like what do you see that as in Europe? Or maybe just going in the opposite direction because that's not the mentality that maybe they want.
Yeah, I think we are getting closer, like as an athlete. there's a lot of like athletes who like making feel like they're gonna be ready for the season, and fight on the field. But there's still is a gap between like US and Europe for sure, or other like country like Asia, or like the only team like right now very close to US is the women's team, like the Colombian team. They are like we did again the final was like pretty close game and super intense on the field. But I feel like it's we are still we're still learning. It's gonna take some time, but at the same time, you guys like have new players coming in around too. So yeah, it's gonna be hard to beat the US for sure for the big stage tournament.
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, the US is just very big and there's a lot of
Yeah,
players. It's developed. And so you could argue the US is getting better and pulling away, but I I'm not sure if I don't know. The US has consolidated. Like I was on the USA Worlds team in 2012 where I played with Revolver as Team USA. But then 4 years later, we did a tryout. So yeah, we were good and we won gold. But the following year, or the next 4 years later in London, we won gold. We beat Japan. That was a good Japan team, a very good Japan team. But
yeah,
in general, we then just because we were able to consolidate all of the best players together, we were more of a force, and they clearly were again in 2024. So, in that sense, it may seem like the U.S. is pulling away, but I just think there's a much deeper bench of athletes, and considering the population, Ultimate's not big enough where smaller countries can necessarily pull that many athletes yet, unless Ultimate continues to grow, and then you just need to field 15 to 20 good players and you can compete. But I don't
yeah,
know if many countries are there yet.
yeah. I think even like GB had a lot of talents, but you can see like this year, like it was like hard for them like to be close to even like Australia or like Canada. They did Canada, but they were like worked like hard like when they got to face US. Even like Japan, they are like a pretty like they are like very good team, but they're like pretty tough for during the final too. So yeah, I think that the gap is still there. In juniors division, like under 20, I feel like the women, like the French women, are world champions this year. So
I want to
I
get to
think
that.
that
I want to get to that. Don't
yeah,
don't jump into
okay,
that
yeah,
yet. I'm going to ask you
all
that
right,
next.
yeah,
Before we do, um, do you think the athletes, like top to bottom on some of those European teams, do you think the athleticism is there right now, or is it skill? Because I remember when I was in London, and I don't know if we played. I can't remember if it was like the Czech Republic or who we played, but I just remember thinking like there were some fast players, like very fast players on the team, and I forget which country it was, um, but then I just remember their ultimate IQ and their skills were not where matching their athleticism and speed. Like there were
yeah,
some speedy guys, like faster than a lot of guys on our team, right? But I'm wondering what is it attributed to? Because I think here's my opinion: in the U.S., we play so many different sports when we're younger. In general, we play basketball, baseball,
yeah,
soccer. We're exposed to a bunch of random sports, lacrosse. I mean, not necessarily everybody in Ultimate plays them, but I just think we're exposed to a lot. So as you develop and then you convert to Frisbee, however you get there, you have now can pull skills and experiences from these different sports. Whereas in most of the world, not just Europe, in most of the world, soccer is very prevalent. And that's a sport that really just, is focused on your feet, right? There's not a lot of
yeah,
hand-eye coordination. Whereas in the US, with just baseball alone, you're throwing and catching all the time, right? Tennis. So uh, I feel like we're exposed to more sports when we're younger in general, and
Yeah,
therefore I think it's harder for some of, again, a greater part of the world, not just Europe, in using those skills that they've built. So it takes them longer to build those. Well,
yeah.
is that accurate? Do you think that's fair you know,
Uh,
way to look at it? Or
yeah, I mean, like I was exposed like to a different sport when I was younger. I played basketball like for fun. I played volleyball. I played a lot of different sports. Just like because I was learning to play different sports. But I feel like right now, like it's something I was talking with a friend like a couple of months ago. Like where I was talking to him, like I feel like we put a lot of time to make sure we can catch up US team. Like Australia, like big team, like we're like very physical back in the day, and now we just like spend a lot of time like in the gym. Like you can see like people like going to the gym, make sure we can push some weight and getting bigger and getting like more athletics, and probably less time to understand like the game at some point. Like uh, I feel like there's still a gap like of IQ and when we're gonna realize we have to balance the physicality, like the practice, how we practice the game, and also how we understand the game. We're gonna do like better and have better chance to compete against the US team. But right now, it's still like the gap about on that for sure.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
It's my feeling. Maybe, yeah, this is what I'm thinking, but maybe I'm wrong. But I think with the lot of experience I have, I can say I'm feeling like playing with different teams in Europe and compare like playing with US teams for sure.
Hmm. Well, let's maybe transition since we're talking about, that of how does Europe get better, catch up, whatever you want to call it, improve overall. One of the reasons why one of the topics I wanted to talk to you about was the fact that there has been some success on the world stage with European teams, in particular the French, where last year you were on the team. The mixed team won the World Beach Ultimate Championships, which was in Huntington Beach, which was
Yeah,
super cool. And I did a video breakdown of Elliot
yeah,
Bonet, and basically it was you hucking to him, and he was pretty much unguardable in the beach. He played great, and so that was me personally, my first kind of exposure to, oh, the French are kind of coming along. Like, that's awesome. I think it's great to see. I love it that
yeah,
there's other countries that are continuing to compete, because I think it's just more exciting and better for the sport to have other countries being able to compete. I love the fact that the Colombian women are able to give the U.S. women a
mhm,
game. I'm still rooting for the U.S., of course, but
yeah,
it's just good for the sport. It's exciting, and that was a great game. And then I've heard, and then the French won the juniors
yeah.
championship too. So was it the women's, you said? Did the
Women's,
men?
yeah, well,
Okay, the
women,
women's.
yeah,
Okay.
and the
But
men
clearly,
won final.
yeah, the men were in the final too. So I guess maybe what's going on with the French in particular? What has what has been the reason, do you think, for their kind of success in the juniors? Because clearly this will set them up for maybe being good on the open or the women's stage, in years to come. So what are they doing that can you attribute it to something? And if so, what are they doing? Because I think it's great.
Yeah, I think the like most like city in France are like starting like pretty early to play ultimate, like in the high school. There's a lot of like sport teacher who like just like develop ultimate in high school. There's like I think I'm not very familiar with everything it's happened in France, but there's like the championship for the high school. So there's like a lot of juniors like coming around and playing like European playing like some tournament in France, and they get involved like in different like elite team also. So they like more than like when I was younger, we were like probably the only team with like young players. But right now, they love players like they're very young. Um, can play about Elliot Bundle is just like 21 or 20. Yeah, I think 21.
Who?
Can Elliot Bundle?
Oh, okay. Did I say it wrong? Elliot, what, how do
Yeah,
you say it?
yeah, Elliot Bundle.
Okay, Bonet.
Uh, and Sandy Long, she's like 20. She already played a lot of like big tournaments when she was junior. So I think there's just like more and more and more players coming around in France. So it's more easy like to have like a very good tryout with a lot of players. So I think like they are not no issue like to send any team for any big tournament in Europe. And I think like they're just like starting very early and they're just like falling in love with the sport and they just want to be better and better and they just like love playing with the love playing Ultimate. So it's uh it's getting very popular. It's like even like where I'm living, like there's no clubs here. There's only clubs in Geneva, but sometimes I talk in my village about like Ultimate, if they know about Frisbee, they already know like yeah, my son already started playing Ultimate in the high school. So yeah,
Wow. Wow. Okay, so it seems to be so more kids are getting engaged, are learning and playing ultimate frisbee at the high school level. So you think that
yeah.
that's it. Okay. And how is that happening? Why are French high schools now putting more ultimate frisbee in high school? How is that happening?
I think there's just like a lot of like a sports teachers like working in high school and just like discover like they play in some clubs and they just like had a chance to bring the sport to their like high school and they just like bring like their like programs in some high school have done some programs for internet. So they just like getting like very into so they just like show up and just like here and give the chance to the kids like to start in your sport. And I think it's the one of the reasons like we have a lot of like junior like right now.
Hmm.
I think it's yeah,
Yeah, when I think about the U.S., I mean, the college in the college division, North Carolina has been on a tear,
yeah.
basically winning multiple of the last, couple of championships. I think they're three out of the last four. They won some, in the 2010s also. But they kind of that North Carolina triangle, area has a lot of, young players playing at high
Hmm.
school and even middle school too, and it's showing because they're having success. Ring's been they've always been pretty solid, but they've been more consistently solid. They won a national championship a couple years ago. North Carolina is winning, so the youth programs make a huge difference. So I think France is on to something. Whatever those PE teachers, however they're figuring it out, I'd be interested to know if you do figure that out. Like, are they watching, you know, Rowan McDonald videos? Or what are they doing to, are they watching other things online to say, hey, let's teach our high school kids ultimate frisbee?
Yeah. I think there's like some programs like where you can learn like uh playing frisbee. So I think I'm pretty sure there's some program in France like where like teacher like you can like go to the like classroom like and just like learn about like ultimates and then like when they learn like the basic, just go back to the high school or middle school and just like try to teach them what they had learned. And at some point like when the young players go to college or somewhere to just like move to the different city like Paris, like Nantes or like a big city where they're like big club, they just like show up and then and play with the big elite team in France.
Mm, interesting. So so who are so on these like the French juniors team, are they from all over France? Do you think is there like a major concentration coming from Paris, or are they kind of sprinkled all over the place? Like how's that kind of come together?
No, I think they're from like all around the place. We just like lucky to have like different place where we can practice weekend with the national team. So there's like some place like when like you have a practice for the national team, everyone go there. So it's pretty easy to make sure like every player can travel there and not sometimes it's pretty far, but sometimes it's pretty close. So it's pretty easy like, to have like every player coming around and to the one place and practicing for the weekend. So we do a lot of stuff like this. Even like for the national, like for the 80 team, like for the national team, we have some site where we can practice for the weekend, just like for the teammates and we was pretty good there.
Is like I picturing France, like do you guys always meet like right in the center of the country so it's like
Yeah,
easy for everybody to get to? Or yeah, okay.
yeah. Mostly that. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Wow. And are there like specific players in France that you think we should watch out for on like the international level? I mean, I know Elliot because I saw him at, the World Beach Championships. Who you mentioned somebody else, but who else should we be looking out for that you think
Uh,
has a big career ahead of them?
I think the sisters Bono, Eva, and Lisa Bono, who already played with the World Games team uh 4 years ago, are they are pretty young too, and probably the next player like we're gonna watch for sure. That we already talked about them, but they're just like they're a little like Camille Blanc. He's like
Were they the ones at the beach showcase at in Portimao? Did they play on that 4v4 versus
they
Spain?
yeah
Because there's
yeah
sisters on
there
that
yeah
team.
yeah
That
yeah
was them. Okay.
yeah yeah. So yeah, I think they even like for me, I sometimes like when I go to a tournament, I don't recognize anyone because they mostly play in France. So sometimes it's just like I remember like when I switched to playing mixed for my first tryout, I was like I don't recognize anyone here. I was so I mean like I've been the old guy from so many teams, but I was like I know this guy, I know this girl, it's pretty easy. But when I was like training out, I just recognized like a couple of guys on the team, but for the rest, it was like only like young players, like 20, 21, 22. So yeah, was pretty funny.
Yeah, it is kind of. I mean, I have that same experience now, and I'm 39, and just nationals is in San Diego, so it's great. I can just drive 15 minutes from my house and be at the field. But watching teams like Double Wide and teams that I played on,
Yeah,
even less than 10 years ago, I mean, I I maybe know like one or two players, and then the rest I'm
yeah,
like, who's on these teams?
yeah,
But it just it 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 people kind of move on and change, and the rosters change, but it's hard to maintain. And the fact that you're playing at 45, I mean that's insane. I mean literally that's insane because it's hard on your body, and it takes a lot to keep in shape. And I don't think people think about that part of the toll that it does take on your body. And Ultimate's quote unquote a non-contact sport, but by no means is it easy on the body, right? I mean,
yeah.
you're running full speed, cutting full speed. People are bumping into you when you're trying to jump and throw and all of that, and it's not easy.
No, it's hard. I mean, like I can feel like right now, like after like a week of tournament, like North Korea, my body was just like broken. I was so tired. Like it took me like I was just like destroyed. Yeah, and yeah, yeah,
Destroyed.
yeah. It's still like the word like just like my body was just like painful, like in every part. So it's very different. Like remember, like when I was like 30, it was like pretty easy to recovery after like a tournament or something. Even like I'm still doing a lot of stuff to make sure like I'm staying safe. I'm just for so I feel just like I'm getting old and it's just like nature.
Is there is there something you would have done when you were younger differently, from kind of a preparation or training or something's perspective that would have, I don't know, is there something you would have done differently to kind of make yourself feel better as an older player? You know, because sometimes when we're
Yeah,
young, we just don't think, we're like, yeah, we're fine, we're good, we can
yeah,
just show up and play and jump around and bang into things and it's going to be fine.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. After like I turned my ACL when I was like 30, when I came back, I decided to work with personal trainer, like to make sure I can like Google my body to be able like to burn on the field. Like so, like you say, we have no contact, but still have like steady direction for the body, like pretty tough at some point. And think that I just work with someone like right now, like I start working with Mike Adult, he's a PT from Toronto. Like he trained a lot of like ultimate players, like in US. And I decided to work with him like 5 years ago to make sure like I can be ready for like playing in the elite division. So it helped me a lot. And I remember when I was like 20, I never go to the gym. I never like gym was like something like I never like have in mind. And now I just like I know I have to go to the gym like twice a week or maybe 3 times in a week. I know I have to do like some stretching. I know I have to do like a lot of stuff to make sure that my body can recover. But when I was younger, like you say, well, I just like run by. I don't know what much. I just have to go and play.
Yeah. Yeah. I I mean, I'm the same way. I think one of the things I would have wished I knew better was just injury prevention, because I had hamstring problems for, I would say in my mid 20s, and they could have all been solved by a ball, like one of those
Yeah,
softballs that you just roll on and
yeah,
rolling. Even just 10, 15 years ago, like we didn't wasn't as prevalent and we didn't really know. It was kind of just
yeah,
starting, and I would miss tournaments because I was my hamstring and I was afraid that it would like stretch and rip, and meanwhile all I needed to do is just roll it out and I would have been fine. Right? So like just little things like that makes such a difference. Such a
yeah,
difference, you know? Having a stretching routine, right?
yeah.
The flexibility. I started doing that mid 2010s or so, somewhere around then, and it was like game changing. I felt like 22 again, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. I wish I would know that better when I was younger for sure. But I'm still like something I like right now. Just like I really like learning. Like I really enjoy like learning like how to think differently, how to play differently, and this is why I'm still like keeping playing. I just love to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about the brain to get change gears here and talk about the brain tumor. You said you had a brain tumor a while ago now. So tell us
Yeah.
about that. What happened there?
So like my job is I'm a social worker, so mostly work with teenager. I'm always surrounded by people around me, and I remember like it was like 2008. I Somebody was talking to me and my lifestyle, and I was like trying to figure out like something wrong, and I can't understand like when he's like far to me. So I always like had the kids like to repeat the question or repeat what they were saying. And I do some tests and they figure out like, yeah, probably I need like some like something can put in your ear to make sure you can listen well. And but to make sure nothing big could be there, they asked me to do like a MRI, and I do like a MRI in my brain and find out like they have like a tumor in my brain, through some nerves, and it was like not big at the beginning, but the doctor said at one point I would need like to remove that. So I decided to play the season, and I had my ACL injury, so I decided to do both, like operate my knee and make sure I can remove the tumor in my brain. So it was like a pretty tough year because like I had like two surgery, like ACL pretty easy to um to operate because it's like just like one day. But my brain, I was like at the hospital like for 2 weeks to make sure I can go back home because like when you open the brain, like you don't know how you're gonna feel after the surgery. So it was
Mm-hmm.
pretty intense. But like I'm glad like right now I lost my ear like on my left side, but I'm yeah, I'm able to play. I'm able like to do everything else. But it's
Wait, you
like
lost it? Like you lost hearing? So you can't hear at all out of your left ear.
I mean like it's pretty tough. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So if I'm
Wow.
like surrounded with a lot of people and everyone talking at the same time, I can I can hear anything. Yeah, on the next slide.
Uh, wow. I in a way that's quite impressive because you are a social guy. You are the we've never actually had a conversation like this in length, which is pretty cool. But the times we've talked have been after an AUDL final or
Yeah,
world championship tournaments. I think the last time we talked was at World Beach
yeah,
Ultimate Championships. But it's usually a lot of people, social atmosphere. So, and I don't really notice that. So you do a pretty good job at managing through
yeah.
that.
I mean, like I remember, like when I want to talk with someone, I just like need to turn my side to make sure like I can listen
Right.
like everything. Yeah, yeah,
Right. Right. Wow. Okay. So, and was it was it cancerous? Was there like you got operated on? So it was just okay. So it was kind of one of those things that it was putting pressure. You
yeah,
needed to kind of relieve that, so they
yeah,
removed it, and everything's been good since.
yeah, yeah. I do like some tests that make sure like there's nothing left. But right now, I'm fine. Like you do sometimes like my balance is not the same on the left side. When you have like do some like exercise with one leg, sometimes like I need like make sure I'm focused. But otherwise, like everything is good.
Did it? Did you? Did you have to not play Ultimate for a season, or did you miss
Yeah,
time playing Ultimate?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't play for 1 year.
Okay. What year was that?
Yeah, 20 2009.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Mine was the year before 2008. So
yeah, yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Okay. Um, awesome. So, I mean, you've played a lot of Frisbee. You know a lot of people. What's your best memory of playing Ultimate? Like, what's your favorite, most exciting memory of playing?
Uh, I would say the first like watching first. I would say watching Team USA in 20, 2001. I think it was like no Team USA. It was like remember like back in the day, it was like the club winning the championship had to represent the US team for the national stage. And this time was like Dog playing in Germany for the USA. And I remember watching this guy. I was like, uh, probably know him like Fortunat Miller.
Yeah. Yeah. I played with
Yeah,
him in 2008. My first,
yeah,
kind of my, I wouldn't say my first club season, but I played with Boston that year. He was still on the team. He was a great
yeah,
player.
yeah. And I remember like watching him like all the week, like every time the USA have to play, I was in the highlight. I was not playing. I was just like, I was just there watching Frisbee. And I remember like watching him like, yeah, I want to be him. Like, I want to be this guy. I want to be like that as good as he is because like he was so impressive on the field. Never made mistakes, just like taking the right choice and stuff like that. And I think one of like best memory was uh playing with Ironside for sure and reach out the finals, but we lost against Revolver this year. It was like 2010. We lost Revolver in the finals, but all the season was just like awesome. Like a lot of fun playing with a lot of good players like Jeff Graham, Will Neff on the field, George Marquette, like all these players. Like like you get a lot of fun thing playing with these guys. So I really love my time playing with them. Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
like yeah, Ironside was my best memory. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes even the best memories can come from losses. Yeah. I know you said you lost in the finals, but, just being a part of a team that achieves, what they're, I mean, I know the goal was to win a national championship, but it
Yeah,
sounds like you guys were proud of what you were able to accomplish in those years.
yeah. I feel like I hate losing. Like for sure, like losing is very painful for me. I really hate that. But I feel like getting older, like and understand like the situation, like yeah, they were just like better than us on the field and just like show up in the right time and you just like beat us. But it's like I take a step back and I see like all the chance I had like to play in a high level for so many years. I feel like the balance is pretty equal, like by losing and winning stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So so that was close to 15 years ago or so. What what's your kind of goal? What's your motivation to continue to play? Like do you just love Ultimate that much? Is it for exercise? Is it because you're competitive and it's a way to get your competitive juices out? But what's your motivation now?
Yeah. It's funny you said the word like motivation because I think it was not like a motivation for me. It's just like something I need, like I need like to feel something like I have a family, I have a good job, great life. But I think like ultimate is something like I want to be good. I want to success. I want to be like a good teammate and all this kind of stuff like bring together. I feel like I want to be part of something. So it's more like just I want to do that. Like it's easy for me to wake up in the morning and just go to the gym. Even like sometimes I don't feel like I want to do that, but I just think like, yeah, I'm pretty sure somebody else the same experience and me, probably younger. So if I want to be on the field, I want to be team, I need to do something. So it's just like more like I feel in my body like because I was into Ultimate for so many years. It's just like it's part of me like feeling like I want to play. I love playing high level. I love to play great games. And I just feel like it's something I want to. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, is there something that you would tell your younger self to do? And I kind of asked the question so, younger players can hear from you who have so much experience, what you would do either differently or what you would tell your younger self to do to, uh, yeah. Would you tell yourself anything differently?
If I was younger or
Yeah. What would you tell your younger self now?
just like uh listen people like make sure like you understand like when you don't understand something, ask questions to not like take in your mind like, yeah, I listen because I want to listen, but just like make sure like you understand what you're saying. Because like I feel like sometimes like young players just want to play. I coach some young players and they love to do the games at the end of practice, but I don't like this. I don't want to just like play a game. I feel like no, to practice differently to understand like what we're doing in the field because like you feel like when you do some drills, they are happy, but they want to see it by the game, like game to 15 or whatever. And I just feel like, no, we're not going to do that. We're just like try to reproduce what we learn during the practice to make sure like we transfer everything. So I would say like just like learn, like love to learn, like just make sure like when you're watching a video of everything, like not just what like the player, what like what's happened everything on the field, like to understand like, oh, this is why it get open because somebody leaves the space free for him, so this is why he was open. So I feel like right now a lot of players like are so focused about the highlights, stuff like this, and the big names, but they never like it didn't take some time. Sometimes you just see like what happened on the field, what they are
Mm.
good by doing that. And I feel like I always talk to the player like if you want to watch the game, not just watch the big names, watch like everything happen in the field to make sure you understand why they are so good.
Mm. I think that's so important because uh, some people, yeah, get caught up with the headlines. Am I getting the accolades? Am I, getting recognition? But uh, as something as simple as listening to your coach can be and following what they're trying to teach you. They're not trying to lead you astray. They're trying to help you prepare for those bigger moments. So if you are, I don't want to say maybe unwilling or a little hard headed about that, it can potentially delay your development as a player, right? But if you're listening, if you're soaking things up, you can utilize all those things to grow as a player.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty easy for me to do that because like as a social worker in my job, I have to work with like teenager. I have to be like give them advice about like when they're gonna be big adults, they're gonna do like face some stuff. And my job is to make sure like I prepare them for those kind of situations. And I feel like it's pretty easy for me like when I coach like young players to make sure like they understand that, not just like they understand like, oh, I want to score like 20 goals, I want to make so many athletes. I don't care about the stats. I make sure like at the end like everyone are happy and enjoy like playing together. I think it's the one thing that I like coach talking with them players like but sometimes I feel like now we have a lot of stats, a lot of people like talking about like this thing. It's nice. I mean, it's good for the sport, but I feel like sometimes players just like lost their focus and just like focus on that and scoring and these big names. But at the end, like when you lost, you just like lost the game. So we don't talk to you anymore. So if you want to make sure like people talk to you or maybe about your team, make sure like you take the right decision in the right stuff on the field.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. That's great advice. So, uh, is there anything you want to talk about? Or is there anything that you want to kind of share as we kind of close up here, the conversation? Is there anything that, whether from a European perspective or your perspective that you would want to either talk about or share with for, younger players or players that are coming up and, that you may have knowledge to or, maybe privy to that you think is worth talking about or sharing?
Yeah, I think something I like right now is there are a lot of like Europeans who had a chance to go in US and play with US teams on the both gender, like women's side, on the men's side, and even on the Nick side too. So I just wish like the golf players when they're coming back in Europe, like they can just like share their experience more about what they are like experiencing when they were playing with the teams to having like more like uh that coming from local experience. And I think because like right now, like Elliot is coming back, he's back in Europe. He had a lot of stuff I think to share with your teammates and your friends. Things like this guy Dan Damare, uh, we were playing with Machine. Like they are like big names in Europe now, and they like Toby, the fan also. They are doing a lot. Like Toby is doing a lot of stuff like about Frisbee, but I wish like they can bring a lot of more like for the players to prepare them like to go in US because it's not easy for sure. Like it's not easy even like you are talented. It's another country, another like culture. So sometimes you go alone, so you have to take like the take like you're not with your family and stuff. So to make sure like we prepare like all these players about that because right now we just like talking about the Frisbee experience, but if you stay like 4 months or 6 months or a year maybe in here, it's something like different like in your life. So I don't want to make sure like people understand that too and just like make sure like they have to be ready for a lot of things when they move to a different country for
Sounds like I should have one of them and talk to them about that, huh? What do you
sure.
think?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
yeah, you'll have to maybe put me in touch. What I mean, you did it though, right? I mean, talk about maybe that part, the culture part, maybe not the Frisbee part of what that experience was like living in Boston. I mean, you also were working through this. It seems like you were balancing a lot. Uh, you lived in Canada for a while. Like what do you have to share as far as living that experience? And I know you could argue it's changed a little bit, right? Because, this now 2024, but I'm sure you've got some wisdom to share about moving to the US,
Yeah.
the North America. What was that like?
I think I just have a plan when I went there. Like I I was not a big fan of school, so I got finish my degree and I will make sure like I'm not gonna live in US or maybe in Canada, but when I'm coming back, I will have something like because like right now we are playing a game like we're not get paid for that. So
Hmm.
it's definitely something in my life, like Frisbee part of my life for sure, but I have like a family life, a work life, and I was like making sure like I'm not going in US and coming back and just like doing nothing. I need to make sure like when I'm coming back home, I'm gonna do like something to make sure I can do that more and more. Like to have like the money to do that because it's pretty expensive. Like different like going in US super expensive. Like for like when you play Frisbee, like you have to travel a lot, you have to pay for a hotel, rent some car, and all this stuff.
Hmm.
So there's something that you have to have in mind to make sure that you can like deal with that because like
Yeah.
ultimate is not it's pretty expensive. Even like you have like plates and a Frisbee, it's a pretty expensive sport. So yes,
Hmm.
spend a lot of money on the
So have I. So have I.
yeah, it's
A lot of people have. Yeah.
yeah,
But it's all been worth it. It's all been worth it. Well, I love
yeah,
that
yeah,
perspective because
definitely.
I think some people, and hey, everybody makes their choices, right? But some people, I've heard people moving to cities or just moving to a city solely because of Frisbee. And hey, that's your choice. You can do that. Me personally, I always was focused on the job. What was the job? Where did I get the job? If I got promoted or whatever, okay, I'm moving there. And then Frisbee would come second because Frisbee was not going to pay the bills. And as much as I
Yeah.
loved it and I dedicated a lot of time to it, it was never number one. I sometimes wonder, what if I did make it number one? Maybe I would have had more success and, higher performance output overall. But, at the end of the day, okay, well, if you want to have a family one day and you want to be able to provide for them, I knew I was going to have to make money and do that. So, but so I think it's a good call out to say, hey, have a plan when
Yeah.
you're going to the US because you're going to come back, eventually, right? Or, assumingly come back because you're going to be there for 3, 4, 5, whatever the time is for the season, and then come back home and you're going to have to make money. If you want to do it again, you'll need to have money to kind
Yeah.
of pay for all that.
And I think like because like I remember like when I was in Boston, I was practicing with the team during the weekend and sometimes during the week. But the rest of the day, like most of my teammates was like working and I was like alone. So it's something also like you have to think about it like because like yeah, you spend a lot of time with your teammate, but you're not staying all the day with your teammate. So
They have lives. Yeah.
yeah, you have lives. So you have to make sure like you manage that because it could be like hard like to be like alone during the day, like in the city and stuff. But if you spend like 4 months or 5 months there, at some point you're gonna be like, okay, I watch everything I want to watch, but what I'm doing next. So I was doing some stuff like going to the English school to learn English. So I want to make sure like my days are not the same every day to get my mind also like focused on something different.
Good. That's all. So yeah, you stayed busy. You were learning. You're living out what you love to do of keep learning English and, improving something. That's super
Yeah,
awesome. Well, I think that's great advice. I'll look forward to maybe talking to Elliot or Don or somebody else
yeah,
down the road. So a more recent experience too. But I think what you bring up is a reality, regardless of when it happens. Of hey, what are you going to
yeah,
do during the day, right? If you're not working, you're not permitted to work, or whatever it may be. Um,
yeah,
so maybe the last thing I want to ask you about is just beach ultimate frisbee. You've played all different types, and it's funny. I've been talking to Goose about this. He loves beach ultimate, and I played in Portimao at the World Beach Ultimate Club Championships. It was a great time, had a great experience. But I think I really still enjoy grass. I just think there's something about it, grass ultimate. So what's your do you enjoy playing beach? Do you like it better? Is it the same? What's your take on that?
no, I think it's very different, like for sure. Uh, I prefer grass for sure than beach.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, I feel like beach is like we are like indoor, like we play a lot of indoor ultimate, more fast, it's pretty fast. Anybody can be open because like it's very fast to run on the indoor tournament. In beach also like I feel like everyone like can be open sometime in the beach because like you some people like move pretty well on the beach more and less on the grass. Like I feel like the Spanish people are pretty good on the beach. Like they're very, very good because they are like they play more on the beach. So they
Hmm.
know how to move on the beach. And when they switch to the grass, you can feel like the difference, like they're not the same player too. So they feel like the gap between them and the rest of the European team. But I feel like in in France we play a lot of beach, so we were like we're not familiar with the class when we play. So it was like pretty easy for me because I play a lot of big tournaments in Europe. So it's pretty easy for me to understand how to move on the beach. But I feel like when we beat the US or when we won the championship, I think we were like ready on the beach. Like we knew how to move on the beach. We knew how to get open on the beach. Even like the USA team had like a better player on the paper. We knew that we can beat them by sending some stuff. And I think this is why we won the championship. We were just like better on the beach. But I definitely like prefer like the grass. But for the body, for the recovery, like beach is much better for me right now.
I would agree. I think as you get older,
Yeah,
beach becomes more preferable because it's definitely not as hard on your body, 100%.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, I agree with you. It does seem like there's some people that could be a lot better at beach and maybe not as good at grass. Like there are, you know, I can see that because the game it's a different game. It really is.
it's
It's
different
not,
game.
it really is. I don't, there's exciting parts to it. Don't get me wrong. I think grass, it's the speed. I think the speed of the game is faster because you're not trudging in a bunch of sand,
Yeah,
and it's more crisp. And the beauty of the game, I think, comes out more than in beach. But beach is just beach is fun because you're running around and diving in the sand. So there's a certain element of fun to it. But yeah, I definitely prefer grass.
yeah, yeah, me too. Like, I, I love grass. I mean, yeah, I feel myself playing on the grass.
Yeah, yeah,
I know, like, I have
cool.
to think different. Yeah, I have to think differently when I play on the beach. So,
Yeah. Well, as we come to time, Nas,
yeah,
what any last words? Anything else that you want to share or chat
no, I
about?
just, yeah, just thank you for giving me your chance to talk about like Frisbee with you. Was like super fun. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I will follow you for sure. I watched the Goose episode. It was pretty nice. Pretty tough also, but pretty nice to watch that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If you haven't seen that, I that was the first episode. I Goose Helton shared his story coming back from injury that he had 2 years ago. So go check that out on my YouTube channel. But Nas, thank you so much. Wait, you got to tell us, how do you pronounce your name? I don't know if you did that, but just for
Yeah,
clarification,
it's Mbae Vogel.
Mbae Nasser Mbae
Mbae,
Vogel.
yeah, perfect.
Mbae
Yeah,
Nasser Mbae Vogel. Well, thank you so much for joining. It's been super fun. This is the first time we really got to spend any quality time talking because usually it's, like I said earlier, in between tournaments, after tournaments, and there's a bunch of
yeah,
people around. So this has been super fun. We'll have to do it again. And I hope, um, folks are able to take away from some of your knowledge and passion and just everything you've learned over a long career. And hope to continue to see you playing and out there. And
yeah,
maybe we'll see you at the next beach ultimate championships or something along those lines. Or maybe we'll meet
yeah,
in the
yeah,
Masters
yeah,
tournament
yeah,
at some
yeah,
point.
yeah. Yeah, my next one is to play Master for sure. So I want to play Master in US for sure. Yeah,
Good, good.
yeah,
All right. Well, thanks so much. Appreciate all of you guys' support that you guys are listening. If you want to have, if there's somebody specific guests that you want to have on the show, feel free to leave a comment, send me a message, whatever it may be. And until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.